Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, New Orleans, and welcome to the Good Morning Show. I'm Will Sutton, and here with me is Eddie Francis. It is 7:02 a.m., so watch your clocks for those of you who have to get up and get going somewhere on the day after Mardi Gras, the beginning of the Lenten season, as we have had quite a carnival season and quite a lot happened during that season. But overnight, we have lost two giants.
Yeah.
We have lost two giants. We lost Reverend Jesse Jackson, civil rights icon, died at 84, and also a national figure hailing from New Orleans, Dr. Norman C. Francis, has passed today. Reverend Jesse Jackson, two-time presidential Democratic candidate, Xavier University president, Norman C. Francis, extraordinary presidency of any presidency. I did not say HBCU.
I was just about to say the same thing.
For those of you who are in and of Xavier and in and of New Orleans and you love Norman Francis and Xavier University, I appreciate that. And I know it runs deep. I know that black and gold runs deep. But if you have traveled as Eddie and I have in other places, you know how much this man meant to so many people who have never seen Xavier University, people who've never been here, people who didn't go here. They don't have legacy, family, attendance. This man has meant so much to so many for so long, and we lost him this morning.
Yeah.
This is, I know y'all used to me doing my good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm saying good morning because I am blessed to have yet another day. But I am also blessed to have lived at a time when these two giants truly made an impact on our race, our communities, and indeed our nation and our world.
Yeah.
And certainly I'm no close friend or anything, but I'm grateful that I've had the time to sit down with each of them, to share a table, to share a meal. It's something I'll always remember. I am not of a place and a stage and a crown or anything like that to be have been a part of some of those formal gatherings where both of them have been recognized for this, that, and the other. But that's one of the things that I appreciate about both of these black men is you didn't have to be a president or a king. You didn't have to be in charge of running this company or that company for them to show you kindness and warmth. And I appreciate what they showed me the few times that I had with each of them. And I know I'm not alone. I know I'm not alone. I know there are a great deal of folks who have had that same experience. And I know that a number of your hearts break as mine broke yesterday, hearing about the loss of my fraternity brother, Omega Psi Phi, fraternity lifetime member, Jesse Jackson, yesterday. And then hearing about the death of Norman C. Francis this morning. It just hits you in a different way with people you may not know as well. but did so much for the world that we that we live in.
Yeah, yeah. The thing about Dr. Francis in particular, is I loved the way that no matter who he spoke to, you were going to get a story out of him, maybe two or three. But the time that I did get a chance to actually have a conversation with him, the only thing I was trying to do, I was at an event and I was trying to show him to his seat, and he had on his seersucker suit,
Hmm.
and I joked with him, and I said, "Dr. Francis, please don't leave that seersucker suit lying around." And he told me an entire story about where he got the seersucker suit,
Mm.
and where in New York I needed to go find one if I wanted one for myself.
Mm.
Spoke to me as if we had been standing there talking, for hours, and didn't want to stop talking either. He wanted to continue the conversation. Off air, I told Will that my wife had the privilege of having, ironically, a much longer and much more robust conversation with
Mhm.
Dr. Francis. Halima, her dissertation was on fundraising capacity building at historically black colleges and universities. And she researched an initiative by the Kresge Foundation where they funded several HBCUs. And so she had a hard time getting interviews with presidents or with fundraisers. Um, One of the people who did step up and give her an interview was Dr. Francis. Not only did he give her an interview, he spoke to her for 3 hours. 3 hours.
That's some valuable time.
And I remember she looked at me at the end of the first hour and she goes, "Should I keep talking to him?" And I said, "Oh, no, you let him talk. Let him talk. This is data collection. Let him talk."
Hmm.
I said, because I guarantee you, we probably at this point have the most valuable time with him that almost anybody has spent with him
Hmm.
outside of his family. Um, and after the interview, she said, "I learned so much, not just about higher education and fundraising at HBCUs." She said, "I just learned about life. This was a life lesson for me."
Hmm. Hmm.
To listen to Dr. Francis all of that time. And when she got a chance to meet him, she made sure that she thanked him profusely. She made sure she thanked him for the valuable work. She actually told me that had it not been for the 3 hour interview that he gave her, she would have had that much more of a problem during her data collection for her dissertation. And so he played a tremendous role there. Um, when I was the director of communications and marketing at Dillard University, Walter Kimbrough, who we're going to talk to in a little bit about Jesse Jackson, and I'm sure he's going to have something to say about, he's going to have a lot to say about Dr. Francis. But um, one of the things that Dr. Kimbrough wanted to do was he wanted to set Dillard in a direction where its pre-law program would grow the way Xavier grew their pre-med program.
Hmm.
And so I actually had to do some research to figure out, well, what did they do? What did they even do? And the legend, I think, of Norman Francis in higher education, as you mentioned, not just HBCUs, in
Hmm.
higher education,
Hmm.
is that he was very deliberate in the 70s in saying, you know what? We will make this. We will make Xavier University a top university for black medicine.
Hmm.
We're going to do it, and this is how we're going to do it. And he knew that it wasn't going to happen overnight,
Hmm.
but he did know that in everything I read, he did know that if they just set on the path, and if they just stayed on the path, and if they stuck with the plan, it was going to happen.
Right. Right.
He just knew that was going to happen, and here we are.
Right. Well, we're going to go to break, and when we come back, we're going to hear from Chicago. We're going to hear from Chicago and hear what the mood is in Chicago and Chicagoland, where Jesse Jackson spent so much of his adult career, time, professional uh, efforts, especially with Rainbow Push Coalition. You really built communities there, and was a force to deal with, really setting some people on some very serious social, educational, and political paths. It wasn't just he who ran for office, and there were some successes and not successes, but there's no kidding that he set some things in motion, trailblazing the way for future successes as well. It's 7:12 a.m. I'm Will Sutton. I'm on with Eddie Francis. We're talking about the giants that we have lost. Dr. Norman C. Francis, President Emeritus, Xavier University of Louisiana, and the Reverend Jesse Jackson. Stay tuned right where we are at 12:30 a.m. The talk line is 504-582-9422. This is WBOK 12:30 a.m. What New Orleans is talking about all day long.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Good morning and happy Wednesday. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News, and here's a look at today's headlines. New Orleans police are investigating 3 separate shootings that left 5 people hurt. The latest happened just after 12:30 a.m. on Loyola Avenue near Elk Place. Police say a woman was shot there and taken to a local hospital. Before that, around 11 last night, 2 people showed up at a hospital after being shot on South Broad Street, and another 2 people were shot on Gentilly Boulevard around 6:30 last night. There's no word on the condition of any of those victims or any possible suspects. Then the Archdiocese of New Orleans begins a new chapter today. James Checchio will celebrate his first Mass at St. Louis Cathedral as Archbishop. The Mass coincides with Ash Wednesday, which is the start of the Lenten season. The community is invited to attend today's Mass, happening at noon. And at today's Mass at St. Louis Cathedral, Catholics can get their ashes. It is one of many churches across the state offering Ash Wednesday services, with some even offering drive-through ashes. For a list of locations, you can go to WDSU.com. And finally, several churches and schools are hosting fish fries today. That includes St. Joseph Rebuild Center, Holy Cross High School, and Ursuline Academy in New Orleans. And in JP, you can go to Rummel High School and St. Philip Neri. That's a look at today's headlines.
Missed a show? Want to hear that guest everyone's talking about? WBOK is now streaming on all your favorite podcast apps. Just search WBOK Media, hit download, share with a friend, and don't forget to rate your favorite shows 5 stars. Because when our voices are heard, our impact grows.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Good morning, New Orleans, and welcome back to the Good Morning Show. For those of you all who have been listening to WBOK, and welcome to those of you all who are just tuning in. We appreciate our WBOK family of listeners on AM radio, on the internet, Facebook Live, YouTube, and wherever you might be listening. So thank you to the listeners and thank you to the watchers. Of course, I'm Will Sutton. I'm here with Eddie Francis, and we're in conversation about the loss of 2 giants, Reverend Dr. Jesse Jackson and Dr. Norman C. Francis, the President Emeritus of Xavier University of Louisiana. Want to get a report from Chicago from my friend, Dorothy Tucker, former president of the National Association of Black Journalists, Chicago native, been covering Chicago, I think, since the 1980s, Dorothy?
Yes, since about the mid-'80s, yes.
Yeah, right. And so you're on with Will Sutton and Eddie Francis. And
Good morning.
I know that
Good morning.
Jesse Jackson meant so much, and being a a news journalist. There were ups and downs and all, but through it all, Jesse Jackson built a brand and built a name that went much beyond Chicago. But can you tell us a
Absolutely.
little bit about what it was like in the earlier days covering Jesse Jackson in Chicago compared to what we know of today?
It's interesting when I first got back home working for Channel 2. I worked Saturdays. So I was at Operation Push many, many Saturdays because there was always a headliner. There was always news that he was going to make. And it was just something that the community wanted to hear. So, he definitely got a lot of coverage. So I spent a lot of time at Operation Push. And the one thing that I will tell you is that it was like going to church. First of all, I remember people would come and they would just kind of say, "Okay, you don't have to go to church on Sunday because we just had church," because it was always a revival, and there was always so much that the Reverend, the message was always good, and it wasn't him announcing boycott after boycott, but it was just talking about what was happening in the city, making sure that people were informed. He was everywhere, and it was normal. I mean, this is a Saturday. People would just go to Push because this is just kind of what you did. It was always crowded. So the early days were busy, and the thing that I think for us here in Chicago, in some ways, you kind of took Reverend for granted because he was everywhere. This was a man who would show up and support the various things that were going on. If there was Father Flager was doing something, he was out there supporting him. If Reverend Meeks was doing something, he was out there supporting him. If there was something going on with the schools, he was out there. He spent a lot of time going to schools and going to various organizations and, supporting the community groups. He was a real part of this city, and of course he lived in the city, so his people knew his children, and in the community, he would go to the backyard barbecues and stuff. I mean, this was a man who was not just an icon around this world. He was also a neighbor. He was a father. He was an amazing man.
So when we think about Jesse Jackson, the legend that he was, for me, what really sticks out about Jesse Jackson was his run for president in 1988. I was a senior in high school, and I went to an all boys, all black high school. So you can only imagine how exciting it was for us to constantly chant "Run, Jesse, run."
Right.
But when you think about it, one of the things that I found interesting when Kamala Harris ran for president is that there were deservedly so, there were all the mentions of Shirley Chisholm. I was one of those people that said, but wait a minute, don't forget about Jesse Jackson. Do you find that somehow his legacy in politics got a little lost in just his overall legacy?
I think you're right. I think it absolutely does. I think it comes kind of as an afterthought, an after mention when you talk about everything that he did. But then he also ran for president in '84, and he ran again in '88. Some of it, I wonder, is it because it was no one was necessarily surprised that he would throw his hat into the political ring, but I think it was a surprise that he did so well. That when he did, he really made the Democratic Party sit up and listen because people began to register to vote. People began to listen to him. And remember, he was winning some of the caucuses. So I think because of who he was, because this was a man who was so outspoken and who definitely had an ego, and that was kind of his reputation. It was kind of like, yeah, Jesse's going to run. But then it was like, whoa, wait a minute. Jesse.
He's really
going to run.
Right. Jesse's getting some traction here. People are showing up for Jesse, and he's filling the rooms. And because of just the attention that he got, because of the response that he got, he really changed things within the Democratic Party. He made them listen to those who perhaps were not going to be the nominees, but had that following. He was one of the first that said, no. I got a whole lot of people who are supporting me. You can't just ignore this. And so he made changes within the party because of his run.
well,
And the number of people that the voters that he got to sign up. And of course, the Democratic Party saw that as well. I mean, everywhere Jesse went, he was asking, are you registered? Are you registered? Are you registered? And that made, that is a lasting impact, which made it easier for the Obamas of the world because Black people were already registered. And they already knew you've got to register. You better register. So, his impact was long.
well, back in the 1980s, I know this is a continuing thing, and that we have what's going on and what's often referred to as the Middle East these days. But he called for a Palestinian state and still got more than 3 million votes in 1984.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
amazing. And then people thought he was done, and it was like, no, there's another run
Yeah.
in him,
Yeah.
and he got 7 million votes.
Yeah.
Neither time did he win, but that's a lot of people
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
be registered and vote for a Black man at that time.
The one thing that I think we have to really give credit for that I have not seen as much is the impact that the Reverend had on corporate America and Black people who work in corporate America.
Oh, wow.
Think about this. When he started the boycotts against various businesses and brands that were disrespecting Black people, when he started asking, so how many people, people would come, corporations would come in, they would want to donate $10,000 to an organization, like Push. But Reverend would say, well, how many Black people do you have working in your company? In what positions are they in? How many are the heads of this? What companies are managing your money? What Black insurance companies do you have? And think of Wall Street. Think of the conference that he would have every year in Wall Street, how he really opened the doors for those Black investment firms. And he made corporations not just look at Black people and say, oh, we'll hire you and we'll make that quota. He made them think, I guess we got to put them in this position, in that position. And he made Black people say, I deserve to be promoted. I deserve to be paid equally. And I think sometimes we forget about the impact. Long before there was DEI,
Yep.
there was Reverend Jackson saying, "We demand equality."
Yeah. Yep. So what's the mood like in Chicago? I know this just happened in the last 24 hours, and I know it's a big place, but what's your sense of the news coverage there and the community's response?
I think what I see is a community of people everywhere saying thank you, and sharing their stories. And because this was home, because he was in the neighborhood, at the various events, he touched so many people just personally. So people are having the opportunity now to tell about that time, that I met him and he said this, and, to relate and remember just the impact, again, that he had on their individual lives. And so there is a real sense of pride here in this city that we birthed. And that's not true. We did not. He's from the South, but that he was ours, that he lived here. that Chicago was home for Reverend Jesse Jackson. And I just, people are, of course, in mourning, but I think because this was, you knew he was sick for years, you knew that this time was going to come, and now that it is here, there is grief, but there is also an opportunity to say thank you to the Reverend, thank you to PUSH, thank you for the organization that he built. And I would bet you that before there was talk of what's going to happen to Rainbow PUSH now, what is the future going to be?
Right.
People recognize the importance. This is making people say, oh, wait a minute, he did this, this happened. We cannot afford to let this organization die.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Dorothy Tucker, for joining us bright and early on this Wednesday morning. I know yesterday was Tuesday in Chicago, but here was Mardi Gras. So it's a different kind of Wednesday morning.
Well, thank you.
We appreciate
for
you
having
joining
me.
us. Lord's blessings. Have a great day.
Okay, you too.
All right.
Bye.
Be in touch. All right. Well, that was helpful context from somebody who covered the man for decades. We're going to go to break, and when we come back, we're going to hear from a guy who knows a little something about Jesse Jackson and Norman Francis.
Yeah. Dr. Walter Kimbrough, former president of Dillard University and now with United Negro College Fund. So I can't wait to get the hip-hop prez on the line to get his reflections of both Jesse Jackson and Norman Francis.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to break, and it's 7:29 a.m. If you've got somewhere to be at 7:30, you got 1 minute, and hope it's on the other side of the bed. All right? WBOK 12:30 a.m. What New Orleans is talking about all day long.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Much warmer start to the day. Humidity is ticking up. Expect partly to mostly cloudy skies with highs 76 to 79 degrees. No rain expected. Tonight, lows 61 to 66. Some fog possible. Highs Thursday in the low 80s. The same for Friday and Saturday. Slight chance for showers at the end of the week. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
New Orleans, are you ready for a voice that says what you're thinking? Who that, you might ask? Arrington Gavin. That's right, I'm your guy, host of the Arrington Gavin Show, giving you so much filled with bold opinions, real conversations, and zero sugarcoating. We're going to be diving into the issues that matter, politics, pop culture, and all the above, unfiltered and unafraid. Catch the Arrington Gavin Show weeknights from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., Monday through Fridays, right here on WBOK, What New Orleans is talking about.
Tired of the impersonal, one-size-fit-all style of banking? You deserve a bank that delivers exceptional service and personalized attention to your needs. That's the Home Bank Standard. Since 1908, Home Bank has been a trusted financial partner for businesses and families because we go the extra mile to help you reach your goals. See for yourself why Home Bank is good for business, good for life. Stop by any New Orleans area location or find out more at home24bank.com. Home Bank, member FDIC.
Welcome to Chemical of the Month from the Community Scientist and Rise St. James. This month's focus is polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, or PAHs, formed when fuels like oil, gas, wood, or trash are burned. These chemicals can enter the air we breathe and settle into our soil and water. Many PAHs are known carcinogens, adding to the health burdens faced by communities living near industry. Learn how to protect your health at risestjames.org.
Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, and Louisiana's Julia Letlow. What do they have in common? Liberal Julia Letlow voted with Joe Biden more than any other Louisiana Republican in the U.S. House. And just like Nancy Pelosi, Letlow has traded hundreds of stocks while serving in Congress. Worse, Letlow violated federal insider trading laws by failing to report her shady stock trades, potentially millions of dollars worth. But that's not all. Before she went to Congress, Liberal Julia Letlow was a university bureaucrat. She instituted radical DEI policies, woke sensitivity training, and the university put up a public art display honoring defund the police activists. Is that what Louisiana wants in the U.S. Senate? Conservatives just can't trust liberal Julia Letlow. Louisiana Freedom Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. LouisianaFreedomFund.org.
The Historic New Orleans Collection presents a new exhibition open through June 7th, 2026. The Trail They Blazed. Built collaboratively with people who participated in the local civil rights movement, The Trail They Blazed presents stories of social and racial justice straight from the people who lived them. Listen to leaders tell their stories of resistance and persistence in their own voices, recorded by the Historic New Orleans Collection. Plan your visit to 520 Royal Street in the French Quarter and reserve your free tickets at hnoc.org today.
Good morning. Wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, New Orleans, and welcome to the Good Morning Show on this day that we are grieving for the loss of two of our giants, Reverend Jesse Jackson and Dr. Norman C. Francis, a couple of black men who had major impact on us individually, collectively, this community across New Orleans, Southern Louisiana, United States, and in the world, in their own ways. And we've lost both of them in the last less than 24 hours. And it's a heck of a thing to lose one. Losing both of these at this time, it just feels like such a hole for me. Feels like such a hole. I'm Will Sutton. I'm here with Eddie Francis. It's 7:34 a.m. You got somewhere to be at 7:45 or 8 o'clock. Please make sure that you drive safely. Get yourself there and make sure that others can get there as well. We do have a caller, so we'll take a call from Pop Jones. Good morning, Pop. You're on with Will Sutton.
Good morning, Will and Eddie.
Good morning.
I just want to make a short story about Jesse. I have to have a confession. I've always been very, very crazy about jazz. And I've been going to Chicago for years. And my aunt did not live that far from Operation Breadbasket. And I would get there on a Friday night about 11 o'clock, and it would take place on a Saturday morning. And I would make sure I would get there because guess who was going to be there? Cannonball Alley, Nat Alley.
All right.
And I would make sure, I say, I know I want to see Jesse, but I want to see Nat and Cannonball that wrote The Country Preacher. And I'd get there, I'd get in Chicago by 11 o'clock. My aunt wasn't that far from the Regal Theater. That's where they would be. And I would get there about 11 o'clock. And man, sure enough, that morning, I'd be right there at Operation Breadbasket and with Jesse and Cannonball and Nat. And I think there's only one guy left out of that group, and that's Lloyd Hayes, the drummer. He's the youngest guy was in the group. And but Jesse was so famous, man, in Chicago, and so many stories and so many things with Dr. King, and he's also a legend. I hope his son could get back. Looks like they're denying him, from getting back into office or something. I don't know what the deal is on that, but I know we missing a great person, Jesse Jackson. That was right there. He was right there with Dr. King when Dr. King was assassinated, right?
Yep, correct. He was.
Yeah. So Well, he's sick. He was suffering. He was going through something. I think they were supposed to be doing something for him or something, and he died. Just before he passed, huh?
You're talking about Jesse Jackson?
Jesse Jackson.
Yes, yeah, he passed yesterday. Yeah.
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 So
a lot of people are waking up to that news today.
Yeah.
And of course we have the
I haven't missed that many years of going to Chi-Town. That's like a second home to me, man. There's so many great stories about Jesse in Chicago, and my condolences to his sons and his wife. His wife still living?
Yes, as far as I know.
Okay,
All right.
Well, all
so
right.
thank you
Thanks
for
taking
calling.
my call.
Lord's blessings, Pop Jones. We've got a special guest we want to get to.
Yes.
And appreciate your time. Appreciate your call. Have a blessed day. All right, Eddie. So we've got we saw something on Medium that prompted some attention.
Yes, Dr. Walter Kimbrough, who we know here in New Orleans well. He has a great Medium platform, or the website, if you don't know it, is Medium. It's a writing platform, hiphoppress.medium.com. And yesterday he wrote a really great, early this morning, my introduction of Jesse Jackson, November 30th, 2006, Little Rock, Arkansas, is the name of the piece. And there's a part of the piece that I really love, as far as his reflections of having met Jesse Jackson. And this is where Dr. Kimbrough wrote, Jesse Jackson embodies leadership like very few and has done so for decades. The November issue of Ebony magazine asked if he is out of touch or more relevant than ever. Consider the past 3 months, and of course, this is at the time that he wrote this. In August, he met with the president of Syria and the political leader of Hamas regarding captured soldiers. This past Sunday on his radio program, he interviewed embattled comic Michael Richards after his hate-filled tirade, if you remember that from years ago. And so this is someone who Dr. Kimbrough has some great reflections of. But let's get him on the line right now. He is actually in South Carolina, the home of Jesse Jackson, on a trip right now. And so, Dr. Kimbrough, good morning. How are you, sir? Oh, and let's see if we still got him on the line.
Carolina.
There we go.
Good morning. Good morning.
Oh, y'all got me now?
Now we got
All right,
you.
Good morning.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I am 20 minutes outside of Sumter, South Carolina, sitting in the church parking lot, headed to Morris College, where I'm meeting with the team over there this morning.
Oh, okay. All right. Good on Morris College. So you have, you, sir, have double duty this morning, because not only do you have reflections of Jesse Jackson, but you knew Dr. Norman Francis, having been the president of Dillard. So let's start with your meeting with Jesse Jackson. What do you recall?
So when I got to Philander Smith in 2004, we started a lecture series, and at the same time, the Clinton School started one as well. And so there was some synergy to partner. And Skip Rutherford, who was over the Clinton Center, said, hey, we want to bring in Jesse Jackson. Will Philander Smith be a partner?
And Clinton School is at University of Arkansas.
Arkansas, right. Yeah. And they opened, but the Clinton School was operating in Little Rock at the Clinton Library, which is, 5 minutes from the Philander campus. So we had it at the State House Convention Center. Skip introduced me, and what I posted was I was surprised I had it. I said, I wonder if I can find my introduction of Jesse Jackson from 2006. And so I went and found it and posted it, and I found pictures from that event as well. But the thing that I remember the most, which I think is very timely from that speech, is that, and he's done this a lot because I heard Bakari Sellers mention it yesterday, Jesse Jackson was great at using sports analogies to talk about equity. And so he would say, at that speech, he talked about football. He says that people always ask, why are black people so good at football and other sports? It's like, because the rules are clear. We know for everybody you have 11 people on the field at the same time, 10 yards is a first down, 6 points for a touchdown. You have the referees. You have instant replay. We excel when the rules are public and fair. And when they're not, you see the inequity. And that's what we see today when people say, well, let's just base things on merit. We don't know what merit is. Merit is, to me, I woke up early this morning thinking about writing an op-ed about it. merit will be, LSU football team goes to Athens, Georgia to play my University of Georgia Bulldogs. The Bulldogs get 11 players on the team. LSU gets 8. No instant replay. We spot the ball wherever we want to spot the ball. We get 6. Y'all get 6 points for a touchdown. We get 12. That's what merit is. It's whatever somebody says it is, and it's not fair. And so the point he's making is that when the rules are published and they're fair and everybody can see, we can compete. But when they're hidden, that's when you get to inequity. So I think that statement from then is very applicable even today right now in this anti-DEI environment, because people default to say, like your governor, we're going to hire people on merit. And then you look at the director of wildlife and fisheries who left to go work for ICE and now is running for Congress, who had just graduated from college, and they said, well, she was captain of the rowing team. So that qualifies you to be over wildlife and fisheries, and then you complaining about merit a couple years later. Get out of here with that. And that's the issue. So that's what Jesse Jackson was really good at, sort of highlighting the hypocrisy.
So let's switch gears right now, and let's talk about someone you got to know very well, Dr. Norman Francis. I know you have a lot of stories about him, but what is your fondest reflection, especially having served as president of Dillard?
Well, it's, so when you think about the two together, I texted my wife when I got up this morning because somebody from Dillard texted me saying Norman Francis had passed. And of course, now I'm looking on the internet to try to see what I could see. And as Eddie knows, every year at Lent, I give up social media. But I had to post this morning because, the first time I met Norman Francis when I was president of Philander Smith, I told people it was like meeting Michael Jackson to me. It was like the biggest deal because he was somebody that I had admired from afar. He became a president at 37, like I became a president at 37. He had worked in student affairs. I worked in student affairs. We were both alphas. So that was just amazing to me to meet him as a young president. But then to be in New Orleans with him was absolutely incredible. So the two memories I have that really stand out of many of them, when I first got to New Orleans, I had a meeting over at Xavier with him and Dean Byrd because I was like, look, I'm from Atlanta. I don't know anything about these hurricanes. Y'all need to talk me through this hurricane stuff. We talked for 2 hours about that, plus the parallel tracks of Dillard and Xavier and how he kept really trying to get President Cook to lean more into the nursing to sort of be a partner with Xavier when they did the meta. I mean, we talked for 2 hours. And I was like, Dr. Francis, you don't have time to be just talking to me like this. He was like, no, whatever you need. So that was one. The other story is that sometimes we could go together. There's a Louisiana Association of Independent Colleges and Universities. And one of the meetings was in Baton Rouge. He was like, my driver's going to go, just come ride with me. So we're riding to Baton Rouge and riding back. So then we, talking about, exchanging notes. And I was talking about a challenge we were having with, it was an employee challenge, who was actually somebody who had worked at Xavier as well. And he said, yeah, I got some other ones I can send you too. And he cracked up. It was so funny. He just got a kick out of it because he thought it was, so it was just funny to me that, that sense of humor just came out. But, if you have a Mount Rushmore of HBCU presidents, he's there solidly. He is just, what Jesse Jackson is the civil rights, Norman Francis is the HBCU. They're on the same level in their fields. We knew it was, that time was coming. I was on campus, I guess, last year when they did the unveiling of the statue.
Yeah,
so I saw him there. He was in the wheelchair. You just saw people just rushing up, and I didn't even want to go over there because I was like, man, y'all just, just crowding the man. It was just too much. So I just, saw him from a distance. I saw the statue, took a picture of it. I was just glad to be there. I think I was at Talladega at the time. I was like, I got to come home for this. I just have to be there. But just a giant who, just watching him at UNCF meetings, leading governmental affairs, his mastery of that, first getting to New Orleans and working on trying to get the loan forgiven for the 4 HBCUs impacted by Hurricane Katrina, working with him on that. So I had a lot of just fond memories. But like I said, he was somebody that before I became a president, he was like that person I looked to say, I want to be like him. And just that, I just remember just my first time meeting him, I was in just complete awe. I fanned out. I was like, man, this is Norman Francis. So,
well, we know you got some work to do this morning. We know you're driving, and so please be safe. But thank you so much for calling in and giving us a few minutes, especially a few minutes of reflection of both Jesse Jackson and Norman Francis.
Oh, yeah, anytime. So, yeah, it's always good to talk to y'all, and we'll definitely be in touch. But y'all have a good day as well.
All right.
You too, brother.
Thank you.
All right. So that's Dr. Walter Kimbrough, former president of Dillard, former president of Philander Smith, now Philander Smith University, and former interim president of Talladega College. And now he's with UNCF as the executive vice president of research and member engagement. Do you want to take a break?
Let's go ahead and get our break in.
Yeah.
And then we've got another special guest we're going to bring on to talk more about Reverend Jesse Jackson. And, of course, we have some more about Dr. Norman C. Francis right here on WBOK. It is 7:47 a.m. You got somewhere to be at 7:50. You got 3 minutes. You just might make it, depending on how close you are, and a few more minutes if you need to be there at 8 a.m. I'm Will Sutton, and I'm here with Eddie Francis, and we're talking about the loss of two giants, Reverend Dr. Jesse Jackson and Dr. Norman C. Francis, President Emeritus of Xavier University of Louisiana. If you got something to say, as Pop Jones did, give us a ring, 502-9422, 504-582-9422. This is WBOK, 1230 a.m., what New Orleans is talking about.
All day long.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat, brought to you by FidelityInvestments.com. Now that we're in the second year of President Donald Trump's second term, our team of analysts at Bloomberg Intelligence is taking stock of how some of the administration's pushback against DEI is changing the business landscape. Bloomberg Intelligence senior ESG analyst Rob Duboff says almost half of U.S. states have taken the lead from the White House and attempted legislation to curb DEI.
Out of the states that proposed it, you've seen 18 have actually been signed into law. They've really designed to, that includes whether it's for admissions, that comes to hiring and promotions for faculty. You know, you've really seen that's probably the most leverage where you've seen at the state level. You've also seen a couple of state attorney generals have gone the court route. Attorneys general from Missouri, Florida, and Texas have all launched legal action against companies over issues related to diversity. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
Time is valuable. That's why Lowe's Blueprint Takeoffs turn blueprints into quotes faster. Bring us your plans, and we'll generate itemized material lists to make quoting easier so you can get back to building. Plus, at the Lowe's Pro Desk, you get access to thousands of building materials not sold in store. And when your order's ready, we'll deliver everything to the job site. Improving is easy at Lowe's.
Working as a dedicated Fidelity advisor, I always ask, what's important to you? I'll look at those priorities and goals alongside your full financial picture to build a comprehensive plan designed to help grow and protect your wealth. With proactive portfolio insights and an eye on taxes, I'm here to help you make the most of your money. I'm Laura Maxwell, and I'm a dedicated Fidelity advisor. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
That's right. It's party time each and every Sunday night at 7 p.m. on WBOK. It's the Throwback Throwdown with DJ Wick as he brings you the best in old school from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and the early 2Ks. Plus, the party goes to another level at 9 p.m. with the Throwback Throwdown Party Mix to round out the night. It's the Throwback Throwdown Sunday nights at 7 p.m. on WBOK and on the World Wide Web at WBOK1230.com.
LifeCare provides valuable whole life insurance to cover final expenses such as medical bills, burial costs, and unpaid debt. A final expense insurance policy is fast, easy, affordable life insurance that's available to anyone between the ages of 50 and 80. No medical exams, no lengthy questionnaires, and no waiting period. The application process is quick and easy. You can even apply without having to undergo a medical examination. Just answer a few questions and we'll do the rest. With the average funeral cost skyrocketing to $11,000 and Social Security only paying $255, you need simple, affordable peace of mind for you and your whole family. Don't leave behind unpaid expenses that, if left unattended, will burden your family tremendously. Benefits include a guaranteed premium that will never increase, a guaranteed cash value, and a guaranteed death benefit that can never decrease. To find out how you can get final expense insurance with a guaranteed lifetime rate lock, call LifeCare at 800-571-9955. That's 800-571-9955. 800-571-9955.
A careless driver can change your life in an instant. Do you know what to do or who to call? If you've been injured in a motor vehicle accident and do not have an attorney, call Auto Accident Help Desk for a free consultation. We can answer all of your questions and estimate the potential value of your case. Call Auto Accident Help Desk and connect with an expert personal injury attorney.
Call 800-269-4524. 800-269-4524.
Don't worry how to handle your medical bills, lost wages, and pain. We will get you the money you deserve.
They got me way more than the insurance company offered.
The consultation is free, and you do not pay any legal fees unless we win or settle your case. Make the smart call. If you've been injured in an auto accident, call Auto Accident Help Desk for a free legal consultation.
Call 800-269-4524. 800-269-4524. 800-269-4524.
This is The Law in Your Legacy. I'm attorney Pete Hamilton.
I'm attorney Ryan Hamilton. Losing a loved one is tough enough. Do you really want your family dealing with court battles and paperwork on top of it?
Whether you choose a will or a trust, think ahead. Take care of your family. Let them focus on healing instead of headaches. This is not legal advice. That's just a tip brought to you by Liberty Bank and Trust. For more information, go to libertybank.net or contact us at 504-915-5016.
Good morning, wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, New Orleans. It's 7:54 a.m. You got somewhere to be in 6 minutes. At 8 o'clock, you got a few minutes, but please take your time. Make sure that you get going and get to where you need to be safely, and make sure that others do the same. I'm Will Sutton. I'm with Eddie Francis. We're talking about the lives of Reverend Jesse Jackson and Norman C. Francis. And we lost both of them. We lost Jesse Jackson yesterday, good Omega man, and we lost Norman Francis, Dr. Francis, good Alpha man, this morning. Two giants gone, but will never be forgotten. Talk about never be forgotten. I mean, there's just no way.
Right.
These guys' names won't live on and beyond history books and conversations, and the real impact that they've had on institutions and structures and people. We've got a special guest coming on, Eddie.
Yeah, someone who I've had the opportunity to get to know, Dr. Darrell Carter. He's a professor and associate dean and director of Black American Studies at East Tennessee State University. He's also the author of Brother Bill, President Clinton and the Politics of Race and Class. And so I couldn't think of many other great people to talk to about the legacy of Jesse Jackson than Dr. Carter. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Oh, how are you this morning?
We are doing really, really well. And so, you know, we know these deaths of giants are coming, as our previous guest alluded to. But you know, it's still something that you're almost not ready for. In the history of politics, though, especially American politics, what are your impressions of Jesse Jackson's impact?
I think he's a giant of American civil rights. You know, here's a man born in South Carolina, you know, before Pearl Harbor, who experiences the challenges and the heights of the civil rights movement, and then is able in his midlife and his later life to have a tremendous impact, not just on Chicago, or the South, but internationally, as he pursues myriad issues related to freedom and justice, whether it be issues over crime, issues over drug use, issues over education, or defending those who lack agency because of the systems in which they're living. And so I think of Jackson as this towering figure, a flawed figure, like most of us are, but a towering figure, especially at a time over the last 45 years or so of ferocious conservative backlash to black progress, racial progress, civil rights success, etc.
How do you mentioned he was flawed like everybody else? How do we in the black community reconcile that, in your opinion, when we have these giants who had their personal flaws, even their professional flaws, but they still have this great legacy? How do you see us reconciling that sort of thing?
I think number one, we have to just recognize that he's a human being, and that as a human being, he made mistakes, and he admitted to a lot of those mistakes in various public forums, whether it's comments that he had made in his '84 campaign, or the child that he had with a staffer, or something else. And I think, too often we become overly sensitive and we want to kind of whitewash it. We don't want to talk about it or acknowledge it. But I think, as a historian, that it adds depth and richness and complexity to the person that we're trying to study and understand. And so, I think we can, add these difficulties, these flaws to that kind of public discussion without feeling that we're somehow doing a disservice to him, to his memory. We're just saying he was a human being, and people have flaws. They make mistakes. And I think that adds to the allure of the man.
Mm. So we do have to take a break really quickly.
Yeah.
Do you have maybe about 5 minutes to hang out still?
Yes.
Okay,
All right,
great.
wonderful, wonderful.
Thank you so
Okay.
much. So let's take a break, and Doc, we'll come right back to you.
All right. Sounds
Okay.
good. All right. It's 7:58 a.m. We've got somewhere to be at 8. Now it's 7:59. You got 1 minute. So slide on over and get to doing what you need to do. This is WBOK, 12:30 a.m. What New Orleans is talking about.
All day long.
WBOK New Orleans, home of the Good Morning Show, 7 to 9 a.m. weekdays.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Congressman Thomas Massie is slamming Attorney General Pam Bondi over the release of the Epstein files, saying he has no confidence in her and that there's no accountability at the DOJ.
Ultimately, it's her who is responsible for the document production. You can assign tasks to people, but you can't assign your responsibility.
On ABC's This Week, Massie said their document production is flawed. A convicted felon is back behind bars after Louisiana wildlife agents say he was spotted carrying a 3 to 4 foot live alligator through packed carnival crowds on Bourbon Street. Officers also found marijuana and a gun on 25-year-old Urel Johnson, leading to multiple charges. And a new documentary is shining a spotlight on NBA legend Spud Webb, who made history as a 5'7" slam dunk contest champion. The film is set for release later this year. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Good morning. Wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, New Orleans, and welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I'm Will Sutton. I'm with Eddie Francis, and we're in conversation with Dr. Carter about the lifetimes of Jesse Jackson, who we lost yesterday.
Yes.
Dr. Carter, as you look at this giant of a man, and you answered Eddie's question about putting in context the complex life that he had, because we're human beings, and then when you have the spotlight on you, then any flaws or mistakes or missteps are highlighted more than others. One of the things that I saw yesterday was that his the daughter he had out of wedlock with a staffer wrote a beautiful, beautiful message about her father and posted that on social media yesterday, which added another layer of context for me because that young lady didn't ask to be here, but she is here and she's doing very well. And her father didn't run away from her. I'm sure that was a tough time, but she's been a part of the Jackson family, and it was nice to see her take note of her father.
Yeah, I tell you, the problem that I see is that too often we are concerned about how white society is going to look at the issue. And then that forces us into this narrow defensive crouch, this box that strips away some of the humanity. And I think we can do this on our own terms without allowing others, particularly others who are not terribly fond of us, to kind of dictate the terms of how somebody's going to be known or how somebody's going to be remembered.
When you take a look at Jesse Jackson's impact on politics, is there anything that you would point to that you feel still flies under the radar, or something that we still need to consider as far as his legacy is concerned?
I think one thing that we don't give enough credit on is the fact that he takes a lot of those lessons that he learns in Greenville, in Greensboro, in Chicago, in the early years of his life and career, that merges activism and politics together. We don't give him enough credit for that and how he continues that effort in a lot of different ways from the 70s onward, whether it's PUSH or it's the Rainbow Coalition when they're merged together later in the 90s, whether it's his political campaigns, economic boycotts and activities, breadbasket, but even after breadbasket, he does a lot of other things of working with corporations, things of that nature. So I don't think we fully appreciate the fact that he lives through his public life a lot of those lessons that come out of the civil rights movement, which is that, it can't just be a one-off. You have to continuously be engaged in these spaces, and that, the poverty issues, the discrimination issues, the legal issues, social issues, all these things are tied together, and they're not mutually exclusive. And I don't think that's something that we appreciate. And I think that's a part of his legacy is that he helps the Democratic Party kind of understand that during his campaigns and throughout the 90s as a shadow senator in D.C., as well as into the Obama era and beyond.
One of the things you just mentioned is the shadow senator and the politics that he participated in beyond the presidential campaign. I think a number of times people put him in the box of civil rights advocate and leader. And he had a tremendous impact on other parts of me. This unofficial or official, the man served as a diplomat.
Yeah.
Pushing folks to the table and to talk to each other and to talk with him and to do a handoff to American officials to try to get some things done. Not just anybody could have done that, and it's because of the respect he had around the world that he was able to do that, and the respect he had in the nation's capital that he didn't have to have elected office to have the weight of some congressmen or some senators.
Right. That's right. And he is so engaged there by the late 80s, and he's developing new relationships. He's developing new alliances, new friendships, even though it's clear in 87, 88 for example, that, there's parts of the party that are against him. But he is still moving on. And I think it's fair to say that you don't have Bill Clinton in 92 without Jesse, and kind of forcing this opening of the Democratic Party in a way that Barack Obama would exploit 20 years later in 2008, ironically against Hillary Rodham Clinton. And so I think, even though he decides, for example, that he's done campaigning for president and, he doesn't seek the presidency again after 88, he has developed this influence and this power that moves beyond, for a lot of people, what they perceive to be these narrow confines of civil rights, and to truly a national political figure, yes, to the left, but a national political figure with international standing abroad.
Yeah. So as you reflect more on the role that he's played, we're a bit older, so there are some young folks who weren't around for the 84 or the 88 campaigns, or weren't around, may not even recognize the name Rainbow Push Coalition. What are some of the things that we shouldn't have lost, have to make sure that are not lost? And how should we look at the Rainbow Push Coalition, which frankly is struggling right now, looking for leadership, looking for path forward?
Right. I think that's an excellent question, and I would answer it this way. One of the biggest threats that we have in the Black community today is that we have an entire generation who is easily able to fool itself into believing that racism is a part of the past, that discrimination is a part of the past. This is how you get some of our people coming out there taking some very peculiar political positions. Think about some of the things we've seen in the last couple presidential campaigns with some of those figures on the far right, for example. And I think for young people, recognizing that in many ways, and I think Jackson understood this, it's a more dangerous time now than it was during the height of the civil rights movement. There's something to be said about a bigot who is openly in your face saying, I don't like you, I would like to kill you, blah, 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 right? Versus, hey, we're going to kill you under the color of law, right? We're going to make sure you don't get that house. We're going to make sure you don't get into school. By the way, we're going to strip all the funding that we know your community desperately needs. And by the way, we'll do it with a smile so you'll feel good about it, right? And so it is very important that we pass on these lessons to young people. It is very important that young people take stock of not just Jesse, but what Jesse represents in the context of the freedom struggle in this country, which was that you have to continuously engage, and that your tactics, your style has to be adapted to the challenges you're confronting at that moment. Jesse evolves during his political life from this man who is ambitious and eager. For example, in 65, when he first meets King, and in 66, when he's taken over, Brett Baskin is establishing it in Chicago on King's behalf, to the man who in the 1990s is a power broker in key ways, right? He's evolving as the scene changes, as the movement changes, as the needs change. And helping our young people understand that, I think, is absolutely critical.
Wonderful. Well, we really appreciate you taking some time out of your busy schedule to join us today on the Good Morning Show. I'm really glad that Eddie reached out to you and that you were available. Great insights, context, as we remember this giant of a man. So we're going to have to take a break, and appreciate your time. Lord's blessings, sir. Have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Well, we're going to go to break, Eddie, and I'm Will Sutton, and here with Eddie Francis. It is 11 a.m. You got somewhere to be at 8:15. You got 4 minutes to get there. 8:30, you got a few more minutes to make sure that you got everything and ready to go. When we come back from the break, we're going to hear from the president of Xavier University, none other than Dr. Renaud Ferret, on the life and the legacy of Norman C. Francis. This is WBOK, 1230 a.m., what New Orleans is talking about
all day long.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Good morning and happy Wednesday. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News, and here's a look at today's headlines. New Orleans police are investigating 3 separate shootings that left 5 people hurt. The latest happened just after 12:30 a.m. on Loyola Avenue near Elk Place. Police say a woman was shot there and taken to a local hospital. Before that, around 11 last night, 2 people showed up at a hospital after being shot on South Broad Street, and another 2 people were shot on Gentilly Boulevard around 6:30 last night. There's no word on the condition of any of those victims or any possible suspects. Then the Archdiocese of New Orleans begins a new chapter today. James Cecchio will celebrate his first Mass at St. Louis Cathedral as Archbishop. The Mass coincides with Ash Wednesday, which is the start of the Lenten season. The community is invited to attend today's Mass, happening at noon. And at today's Mass at St. Louis Cathedral, Catholics can get their ashes. It is one of many churches across the state offering Ash Wednesday services, with some even offering drive-through ashes. For a list of locations, you can go to WDSU.com. And finally, several churches and schools are hosting fish fries today. That includes St. Joseph Rebuild Center, Holy Cross High School, and Ursuline Academy in New Orleans. And in JP, you can go to Rummel High School and St. Philip Neri. That's a look at today's headlines. I'm Morgan Lentis.
On Auto Trends with JeffCars.com, here's a snippet of some of what we cover. GPS Pioneer Gladys West.
We worked long hours computing trajectory orbits and satellite orbits, trying to get the data and everything correct enough.
Auto Analyst Mark Bland.
14 new vehicle deals that happen in this country out of every 100 that women don't have a fingerprint on.
To tune in, check out Auto Trends with JeffCars.com. Saturdays at 4 p.m. on WBOK, what New Orleans is talking about.
Good morning. Wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, New Orleans, and welcome back to the Good Morning Show. We lost a couple of giants, Reverend Dr. Jesse L. Jackson and Dr. Norman C. Francis. And on the line with us is Xavier University President Dr. Renaud Ferret. And before we move to Dr. Ferret, we got a statement from the Francis family. And Eddie, if you don't mind, read that statement for our WBOK family of listeners.
With heavy hearts filled with love and gratitude, our family announces the passing of our beloved father, Dr. Norman C. Francis, who entered eternal rest on February 18th, 2026. Above all else, he was a devoted husband, father, grandfather, brother, uncle, and friend, whose love, wisdom, and steadfast faith shaped our family and touched everyone who knew him. His Catholic faith was the foundation of his life, guiding the way he loved, served, and cared for others. He taught us to lead with compassion, to stand for justice, and to trust in God's grace in all things. While many knew him as the former president of Xavier University, as a civil rights leader, and as a respected voice for justice and equality on both local and the national stage, we knew him simply as Daddy, a man whose greatest joy came from family gatherings, quiet moments of prayer, and encouraging those around him with love, to live with purpose and kindness. We find comfort in knowing that he is now reunited in eternal rest with his beloved wife, our mother Blanche, his parents, his brother, Bishop Joseph Francis, and sisters Velma and Pauline, and many cherished members of our extended family who have gone before him marked with the sign of faith. We trust that they are together again in the peace and light of God's loving embrace. His legacy lives on not only through his accomplishments in leadership, but through the countless lives he inspired, the students and the communities he uplifted, the public officials he advised, and the values he passed on to us. We will remember his gentle strength, his unwavering integrity, and his deep passion for equity. As we celebrate his eternal life, we ask for your prayers for our family and for all whose lives were blessed by knowing him. Details regarding funeral arrangements will be shared in the coming days. We respectfully ask that our family's privacy be honored during this time of mourning as we gather in faith, remembrance, and love.
Thanks, Eddie. Appreciate it. Right now, we're going to hear from Dr. Verrett. Dr. Verrett, President Verrett, you're on with Will Sutton and Eddie Francis. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
It's good to be with the right. It's good to be here with the right people. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, sir, for spending some time with us. Always good to talk with you. Knew this day would probably be coming. Didn't know it would be today, but I am grateful that we've had the life and the accomplishments of Dr. Norman C. Francis at Xavier University across the city of New Orleans and across these United States and the globe. And you certainly have gotten to know Dr. Norman C. Francis quite well, becoming the 6th president of Xavier University in 2015. And can you speak to the man that we have lost this morning?
I'm happy to celebrate him. I want to thank the statement, the Francis family for the statement that they've made that really lifted him up, and thank him for sharing it, and thank them for sharing him with us for so many years. I can tell you the news is bittersweet. At the same time, we remember him as someone who actually dedicated his full efforts, his full life to the flourishing of human community, both here at Xavier in the city of New Orleans and nationally. He was giving himself in so many places. I remember what he did, not only for civil rights as a dean of students, but also as president later, how he built students whom he sent forth, and the students whom he sent forth remember him and honor him by what they are doing right now. Norman Francis was, if you remember, a giant not only nationally in so many venues, but in higher ed. His place in shaping U.S. higher ed has been immeasurable. If you think about even among Catholic higher ed, he was there with Father Ted Hesburgh at the Land O'Lakes Conference, when really the hard conversations about what Catholic higher ed needs to be after the Pope, since the Pope's encyclical Ex Corde Ecclesiae. He's actually was one of the minds that actually helped shape what really a flourishing community in New Orleans would be across all racial lines, overcoming all the barriers, racial, religious, all that divided us and brought us together in so many different ways. And that example is there. But also I'll take a personal example. It's an example that so many others can repeat themselves around Xavier. When St. Norman Francis would remind of his prayers in his prayer life for his family, for his grandchildren, and then would ask about my children, and then remind me that he prays for me and for my children as well. There's nothing to say about a man other than saying that he was a very, very good man. That's highest praise. A man who loved people, who loved students, and really looked for the better way forward. And I think that example we would be right to emulate as a city, as a community, and as we cross all the lines that try to divide us. Norman Francis was actually that bridge builder that he was. And so right now we pray him into heaven and we'll celebrate him.
Dr. Ferret, I joke with you when I say this. Of course, you had one of the easiest presidencies in America, succeeding someone who was at the helm for 47 years. But as you continue the work at Xavier, Dr. Ferret, in seriousness, what part of Dr. Francis' legacy are you proud of continuing?
Well, the first one is that I will also disabuse those who think it's the hardest presidency. Others have had harder presidencies because Norman Francis left an institution that was in really good stead, that had done great things, that was on sound footing in so many ways, but also had an educational culture that was really uplifting, positive, that expected the most of its students. And our students respond to that. That's something that many presidents don't step into someone's shoes to find a place that actually he or she can take forward with joy and also with hope and also without the chaos. Norman was this steadfast leader who actually did the right thing every day. And pardon me for using his first name because that's how we speak. Every day doing the right thing and doing the right thing for Xavier and for others. And also the next day may come and there's another right thing to do. And sometimes the right thing is to revise what he put in place 20 years before. But that's looking at Xavier's interest, the interest of his students, and saying what is right. And that's the only guidance that any president should have. And I think I picked that up from Norman Francis.
Dr. Ferret, as you think about the life of Norman C. Francis and you go about the business of being president of premier HBCU in the nation, how can you see the impact of Norman C. Francis on the campus of Xavier University as day-to-day in the lives of students?
Well, our leadership in educating students in the science and STEM fields really comes out of really educating them, getting them to the laboratories so that when they leave here, they're junior colleagues when they go to grad school and where else they go. That happens. And there's a building on campus through the Norman C. Francis Science Building, and we'll remember him through that. But also what began when J.W. Carmichael and was brought in under Norman Francis to really build what we could do in the health professions as well. That's here at Xavier. If you think about it, that the faculty that he built, or he brought around him, that faculty that actually brought curriculum and brings new curricula as we go forward is Norman's legacy. And I would even say that the medical college that we're about to start, and we have started actually, that we will bring students to very soon, is also through Norman Francis' work. So basically, we are standing on the shoulders of giants, and we go forward. And the giants before us, Norman C. Francis, and the giants before him, all have something really, really good. And the message that we have is that we have a duty to sustain and build on what we were called to do 100 years ago by Catherine Drexel. And Norman Francis, as he is known by, I remember older Sisters of the Sacrament who are at their retirement home. This is 20 years ago. And I would visit with them because I lived in Philadelphia, and they would say, he would refer to Norman and say, our son Norman.
That's nice. Yeah.
A lot of love there.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Ferret. I know you got normally a busy day, and then this added development, lots of people reaching out to you and others as the Xavier alumni and family come together to encourage each other and share and cherish the memory of Dr. Norman C. Francis. There were so many times over the last decade, I would say, that I've seen people gather around Dr. Francis while he was still president and then after presidency, when he would show up at different events and just have such joy and pleasure with seeing him, meeting him, greeting him, having a friendly conversation with him. And I'm sure there's a lot of those memories coming back to folks.
We will remember him. And if I might share just a word to remember the life of Jesse Jackson as well. Dr. Jackson, Reverend Jackson, another bridge builder. And so I think God is happy now.
Yeah. Indeed.
Thank you.
Lord's blessings, Dr. Verrett, and have a blessed day.
Bless
Thank you for joining us.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. Well, folks, great conversation with Dr. Renaud Verrett, president of Xavier University, who succeeded Dr. Norman C. Francis in 2015 as president after a 47-year tenure as president.
47 years, and the one who's come closest to that is Harvey. William Harvey at 46.
46,
Yeah.
So that's a long tenure to have tremendous impact on a single institution. Look, it's 8:27 a.m. We're going to go to break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about with some folks from the New Orleans Health Department about assistance with SNAP and Medicaid and WIC benefits. So we'll be having that come up next. I want to remind you that we want you to be safe out there. Nice weather, no reason to speed. Take your time. Make sure everybody gets where they need to go. It's 8:27 a.m. This is WBOK 12:30 a.m. What New Orleans is talking about all day long.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Much warmer start to the day. Humidity is ticking up. Expect partly to mostly cloudy skies with highs 76 to 79 degrees. No rain expected. Tonight, lows 61 to 66. Some fog possible. Highs Thursday in the low 80s. The same for Friday and Saturday. Slight chance for showers at the end of the week. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
Hey, this is D. Riley from the 90s Hits R&B Jams. Make sure you listen to WBOK 12:30 a.m. every Saturday night from 7 until 9 p.m. I'll be giving you the best R&B jams from the 90s. That's right, all your favorites and more. With me, D. Riley, your host of the 90s Hits, right here on WBOK 12:30 a.m. or listen online at WBOK1230.com. WBOK, the station you listen to longer.
Welcome to Chemical of the Month from the community scientist and Rise St. James. This month's focus is polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, or PAHs, formed when fuels like oil, gas, wood, or trash are burned. These chemicals can enter the air we breathe and settle into our soil and water. Many PAHs are known carcinogens, adding to the health burdens faced by communities living near industry. Learn how to protect your health at risestjames.org.
Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, and Louisiana's Julia Letlow. What do they have in common? Liberal Julia Letlow voted with Joe Biden more than any other Louisiana Republican in the U.S. House. And just like Nancy Pelosi, Letlow has traded hundreds of stocks while serving in Congress. Worse, Letlow violated federal insider trading laws by failing to report her shady stock trades, potentially millions of dollars worth. But that's not all. Before she went to Congress, Liberal Julia Letlow was a university bureaucrat. She instituted radical DEI policies, woke sensitivity training, and the university put up a public art display honoring Defund the Police activists. Is that what Louisiana wants in the U.S. Senate? Conservatives just can't trust Liberal Julia Letlow. Louisiana Freedom Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. LouisianaFreedomFund.org.
Well, Saints of God, this is Pastor David Impartan Sr. coming to you over the airways of WBOK, your favorite host of Change Your Water, Change Your Mind. I want to invite you to our show every Saturday from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock p.m. That's Change Your Water, Change Your Mind. I want you to invite your family and friends to a broadcast that's designed to change your life, the way you think, the way you act, and what you eat. We want you to tune in every Saturday at 1 o'clock, WBOK 12:30 a.m. See you on Saturday.
Greetings and salutations. I am Edward B. Coulon Smith, chairman of the board of the New Orleans Regional Black Chamber of Commerce. We'd like to invite you to tune in every Wednesday at 12 noon on WBOK to listen in on Black to Business and be a part of the movement that's going on. Thank you.
New Orleans, the city of festivals and second chances. This is Mr. Rocky of Faithers in Jesus the Christ, inviting everyone to come to the table of grace. No matter where you are or what you're dealing with, guilt, bad habits, mistakes, or heavy hearts, Jesus still calls us his friend, and his grace is waiting for us. Tune in to WBOK, 12:30 a.m., or watch live on Facebook or Instagram. We'll reflect on his work on the cross, his resurrection, his ascension, and the hope of his return for we who that believe and have received him by faith. So join us at the table of grace, where mercy is fresh, forgiveness is real, and grace is served for people like you and me.
Good morning. Wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Good morning, New Orleans, and welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I'm Will Sutton. I'm here with Eddie Francis.
Good morning.
Man, losing these two giants, a lot of people have thoughts and ideas and memories, and so good to hear from some of the folks we've heard from this morning, and most recently Dr. Barrett, president of Xavier University, who, of course, had the task of following Dr. Norman C. Francis as president in 2015. He's been doing a great job, and we sorry for the loss of Norman C. Francis. You read the statement from the family. We wish him well. Our prayers go out to Norman C. Francis's family and closest friends as they grieve and prepare for services and other recognitions, because people will want to celebrate his life. But let's be respectful that this is a tough time for family to lose anyone, but particularly somebody of this particular prominence. And we want to be respectful of the family as we proceed today and in the coming days. Right now, we want to jump into conversation with some representatives from the New Orleans Health Department talking about assistance for SNAP, Medicaid, and WIC. And this is something that's you've been able to do, but we're going to make sure that you know more about it. So joining us with today is Jolanda Cochran.
Yes.
Okay. The Patient Eligibility and Outreach Coordinator. And Luke Felty.
That's right.
All right. Food Access Specialist. So thank you all for joining us on the Good Morning Show, and thank you for getting up early enough to come on the Good Morning Show. I like to tell people it's one thing to be up, it's a whole different thing to be on.
All right.
Yes.
So,
that it is.
So
I would have been at work already. Right
yeah.
now.
Well, all right. Well, good. All right. So who your mama and them? Where you from? Let's find out a little bit about you.
So I am from New Orleans. I'm actually from this area. I'm from Gertown.
Okay.
I grew up in Gertown, and I went to Warren Easton.
Okay.
Graduated in 2005, and I graduated from Tulane University.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
And I'm from Macon, Georgia, so little town in the central Georgia area.
Military town.
Yeah, near the Air Force Base.
Yeah. Yep. How long you been in New Orleans?
About 6 years now.
All right. You loving us?
Of course. That's why I'm still here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we want to hear from you about how folks can do better with eating healthy, and how you can assist them with their benefits, because we know that there are benefits available. Sometimes people aren't taking advantage of those benefits, and they might need some help.
So Medicaid does offer like a healthy nutrition food option. When you sign up for one of the plans, that's one of their rewards. And those extra benefits people really don't know that they have. Medicaid offers this rewards program, which means when you go to a certain doctor's appointment, you may receive like this incentive, which can be like maybe $25 if you went to your wellness visit. They offer the option to find healthy food pantries. So Medicaid does have quite a few benefits that people really aren't aware of. And so when I sit down with them, there's this comparison chart that I always hand to the patient to say, here, you can look over each of the plans that's offered, and it outlines just some of the basic benefits and even some of the extra benefits. But when you sign up for your plan, you receive a benefit packet, and it goes into more details about those benefits. You can also contact your Medicaid program to find out about more of those benefits.
So, Luke, what are some of the things that people do right, well, and pretty easy, and maybe some of the things where we can get folks to do better?
Yeah, well, I think that, I mean, part of what we're doing is trying to raise awareness. I think most people are aware of the SNAP program, but a lot of times people don't know what exactly goes into completing the application, and it's a little bit more of an involved process than a lot of people might expect. And so we're really trying to help people navigate that process so that they know like what they need at the interview whenever they have a call with the Louisiana Department of Health. And then just helping them understand, am I eligible for this? Am I not eligible for this? So we are partnered with the LDH, the Department of Health, helping people navigate this process. We're playing by all of the rules and eligibility requirements. We're just trying to help people understand, like, if I'm in this situation, can I get these benefits?
Luke, you know, there's this great irony of New Orleans being known for the food. However, we do have food deserts.
Absolutely.
For those who might not understand what a food desert is, what is that? And then what areas of the city do we need those improvements to happen?
Yeah, a food desert is something that in the health department, we're always focused on nutrition. So we're really thinking not just about where there are areas where there's no food, because you can get food anywhere in New Orleans for the most part, but it's really nutritious food in particular. So things like fruits and vegetables and things that are really conducive to having a happy, healthy life. And so really a food desert is just somewhere where you can't easily get to a store or a farmer's market or, you know, wherever you buy food. That is nutritious. So some areas that I think are of highest concern for us, definitely Lower Ninth Ward is a very large area that doesn't have a lot of opportunities for produce and fruits and vegetables. And then parts of New Orleans East, I know the Rouses just took over the old Winn-Dixie over there, but there's still really large parts of New Orleans East that don't have easy access to food. And sometimes that's like, there could be a store, but there's no way to get there if you don't have a car.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of factors that go into it, but really it's just an area where food is not easy to access, especially healthy food.
Jolanda, when we talked, you talked earlier about the benefits that people may not realize that they have with Medicaid in particular. And so what is that gap that we're dealing with people not really understanding? Is it that people only see one thing with the program, or they don't think that they're eligible? Or what do the data normally tell you about what people don't understand about their eligibility or their access to these programs?
Well, it's a combination of both. So many people think, oh, I'm not eligible for Medicaid. So the gap is a lot of them don't even know, because I deal with a lot of unhoused individuals, so they don't know, hey, I can go get this service, or I can go get that service. And I try to always sit down and go over, hey, this is what Medicaid actually covers. You have unlimited PCP visits you can do. There is behavioral health services you can do, even for the ones who may need substance abuse services. Medicaid also offers transportation, which a lot of people don't even realize. With Medicaid, they offer, even some of those programs offer to bring you to a job interview. All you have to do is call maybe 24 hours, 48 hours in advance to arrange those services, and they'll bring you to your appointment. So even they'll bring you to go get your prescription drugs. Even if you need to go to the grocery store for some of those programs, they offer all of those things. People just don't know. So it's okay when they come to you to go a little above and beyond to help them understand that, because everybody doesn't have the ability to understand what's available to them.
So do most folks have the information that they need to complete the application? Or is that another part of the process that they don't realize they needed something and they don't have it?
That's another part of the process. It is, especially with all the changes that are going on right now, because you do have in my case, I have a lot of unhoused individuals who are not from Louisiana, so they don't have an ID, and they're living in a shelter. So now, it's the ability to, if they don't have a case manager in the shelter, who's going to help them with verifying that? So now, in my case, I have been writing letters to send to Medicaid to verify I'm aware of this person's situation. I know that they live in this shelter, to help kind of speed that process of getting them approved. In some cases, some people are living out on the street. So because the health department is so good with going out and helping unhoused individuals, we're familiar with a lot of areas people are often in. So that helps as well.
Well, sometimes with unhoused, I've known a number of people unhoused, and it can be challenging when you're transit, moving from place to place. It can be challenging if you're in a group setting, and sometimes I'll say somebody picks up something that doesn't belong to them, but they're trying to quickly move on to the next place. And so you sometimes have these identifications and paperwork, and then they get lost, or they get forgotten, they get left behind, and then it's not a matter of just pulling out another copy, but you have to go through the process of making sure that it's verified, that it's confirmed, that it's official for the application that I think you're talking about.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. You always hear the story about how the items have gotten stolen, especially if they on the street, even sometimes in the shelters. So it is one of the obstacles that you face with helping them. IDs are very hard to get when you have no way to prove who you actually are. And those resources are very limited. So you do your best to help them as best as you can. But it is definitely hard. It is really hard.
So, Luke, what types of situations do you find there are? Do you often find there are relatives or friends trying to help some folks, or do you find that there are more people who on their own?
I would say it's pretty mixed. I think that, I've had people who, reach out to me saying my brother could really use this assistance, and for whatever reason, he might not be able to set it up himself. But a lot of times I just have people who will come into our office, and, we have walk-ins. So just like trying to get benefits for themselves. So it is a real mixed situation. Sometimes it's families trying to get support for their family members. Sometimes it's individuals just there for themselves.
Okay. So as you look at the services that you have to offer, is there anything that you see as someone perceives it as a barrier, but it's really not? So is there something you can share to say this is actually, people think this is a barrier, but it's not. Here's how to get over this.
One thing that I would say is that there are some people who would qualify for on the SNAP side for emergency assistance, and so you might be thinking like this is going to take a really long time, and I'm in immediate need right now. But there is a process for people who are in kind of like immediate struggle for getting food, and so I would say, don't see this as a huge mountain you have to get over now. This is also something that in the very immediate sense can give you some support and benefits that you need. And then after that, we can help you work through getting all of the other documentation that you'll need together once you have that immediate problem resolved.
I just dropped the information, the link from the city of New Orleans, the New Orleans Health Department, for our friends who are on Facebook right now, so that they can have information about the benefits program. And so what would be the access points, or what would be the way that people can take advantage of the application assistance? Now, Jolanda will come to you with that one.
So you can go to the health department website. There is a link, and it gives our hours and locations. For me, you can always call the clinic to verify the time you can come in, because I also do community outreach. So you can call us at 504-658-2785, and that's New Orleans ACH, also known as Healthcare for the Homeless. But our service is not only for the homeless. We assist anyone that needs assistance. We're open Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, and we're closed from 12 to 1 for lunch.
Right. And then also, what should people have with them if they can have it, if they have access to it? What kinds of materials do they need?
So in the case of Medicaid, if you do work, it would be great to have maybe like your last three check stubs, because they do verify income. In other cases, if you don't have your own home and you're living with someone else, if that person that you live with that's aware of the situation can write a letter for you, that will also help. But Medicaid usually tells us once that application is complete what documents they may want to verify or not. I won't say or not, but want to verify if you're not approved on the spot. Because in some cases, some people are approved on the spot.
So some people, someone you're living with can verify that you live with them.
Yes, they can write a statement and just say, hey, this person lives with me, give the address, give their name and their phone number, and Medicaid will accept that.
Okay. And what's that number again for Medicaid for you?
So they can call me at 504-658-2785.
All right. And then for Luke, for food assistance, how can folks get in touch with you?
As Jolanda mentioned, on that link, there is the schedule for my regular hours, but I would also say I have my contact information on there, both my email and my phone number. And my ability to help people with applications isn't limited to the times on the schedule. So if people don't see something that works for them, then I really encourage them just to either call, text, or email me, let me know what time works for them, and I can, clear up time on my schedule to either meet with them or just do it over the phone. So I can be really flexible and just want to be able to meet people whenever they're available.
And should they call that same number or a different number?
The number for the SNAP assistance is 504-658-2566.
All right. So that's 504-658-2566 for the SNAP assistance, and for Medicaid assistance, 504-658-2785. And there are several locations that I'm looking at here that include several parts of the city, which would include the East and Central City and the West Bank. So there are a lot of different areas, it looks like, where people can go and take care of their business. And it's not just for people who need to sign up, but for people who may already have the benefits and need updates, they can also get assistance, right?
Yes. So if you want to order a new Medicaid card, if you want to change your address, update a phone number, change email address, I'm also available to assist with that.
Yeah. All right.
Wonderful. Well, thank you all for coming in this morning, sharing some important information and talking through some of the things people can do to make sure that they take advantage of some of these SNAP, Medicaid, and WIC benefits. Benefits are available for those who are eligible. We want to see everybody get access to whatever they are eligible for. And It's wonderful to know that you all are here for that, taking care of that piece of business and helping them along the way. So thank you, Jolanda. Thank you, Luke, for coming into the Good Morning Show right here at WBOK. Appreciate all the help and information. And you shared that with our Facebook Live family, right?
Sure did.
Okay, wonderful. All right. Well, Lord's blessings, folks. We appreciate your visit. We're going to go to break. I'm Will Sutton and Eddie Francis. We're going to go to break, and when we come back, we're going to close out the show with some closing thoughts and news and information. And then we're going to make room for the front porch. You're listening to WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat, brought to you by FidelityInvestments.com. Now that we're in the second year of President Donald Trump's second term, our team of analysts at Bloomberg Intelligence is taking stock of how some of the administration's pushback against DEI is changing the business landscape. Bloomberg Intelligence senior ESG analyst Rob Duboff says almost half of U.S. states have taken the lead from the White House and attempted legislation to curb DEI.
Out of the states that proposed it, you've seen 18 have actually been signed into law. They've really
designed to, that includes whether it's for admissions, that comes to hiring and promotions for faculty. You know, you've really seen that's probably the most leverage where you've seen at the state level. You've also seen a couple of state attorney generals have gone the court route.
Attorneys general from Missouri, Florida, and Texas have all launched legal action against companies over issues related to diversity. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
Time is valuable. That's why Lowe's Blueprint Takeoffs turn blueprints into quotes faster. Bring us your plans, and we'll generate itemized material lists to make quoting easier so you can get back to building. Plus, at the Lowe's Pro Desk, you get access to thousands of building materials not sold in store. And when your order's ready, we'll deliver everything to the job site. Improving is easy at Lowe's.
Working as a dedicated Fidelity advisor, I always ask, what's important to you? I'll look at those priorities and goals alongside your full financial picture to build a comprehensive plan designed to help grow and protect your wealth. With proactive portfolio insights and an eye on taxes, I'm here to help you make the most of your money. I'm Laura Maxwell, and I'm a dedicated Fidelity advisor. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
It's Off the Top with Norman Robinson on WBOK 1230 AM.
Well, Jesus, take the wheel. I am totally outdone mentally and spiritually to learn that the Black Conservative Federation is twisting itself into knots, scrambling to defend President Trump after he posted a video depicting former President Barack Obama and his wife Michelle Obama as apes in a video supposedly about voter fraud. The video was posted on Trump's social media platform, and it immediately drew a storm of anti-racist backlash. Tim Scott, a Trump ally and the only black Republican in the U.S. Senate, called it the most racist thing he has seen from this White House. However, he did not say it's the only racist thing he's seen from Trump's White House. Subsequently, the video was taken down, which resulted in, ironically, C.J. Pearson, a prominent black conservative, to issue a statement saying, quote, "This particular clip was obviously posted in error, and I'm glad to see that it has been deleted," end quote. That part was good. But then he continued, quote, "There is not a racist bone in President Trump's body." Really? End quote. That part wasn't good. He even said it didn't diminish his view of the president. Adding more fuel to his dumpster fire, he argued that Trump has done more for the black community than any other president in the history of America. Are you serious? That's a dubious subject of significant debate. What is not up for debate is Trump having a white supremacist mindset. As far back as 1973, the Justice Department sued Trump and his father and their company for systematically discriminating against black people and other minorities. His presidency and his administration has been marked by a litany of disparaging characterizations of people of color. He has unleashed an unprofessional and undisciplined squad of violent immigration goons to discriminately arrest Hispanics in the country illegally or otherwise without due process. Trump has put immigration bans in place, mostly prohibiting immigrants from countries inhabited by people of color. Can you say Somalia? While enthusiastically welcoming whites from Europe and South Africa. Against this record of apparent racism, I find it very difficult to believe that the hateful, disgusting, vile, historical racist trope of the Obamas was mistakenly placed there by a lowly White House staff member. Trump refuses to apologize, insisting the mistake wasn't his. That is no surprise coming from an individual who has a history of being cruel, vindictive, unaccountable, untruthful, and untrustworthy. So why expect a man filled with racism, hate, and other cruel, vindictive things that he said over the past to apologize for what he clearly believes is okay? This is Norman Robinson off the top.
Good morning. Wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, New Orleans. This is Will Sutton with Eddie Francis, and what a day, what a show. certainly weren't thinking on the end of last week that we'd be having a show focused on Dr. Norman C. Francis and the Reverend Jesse Jackson. But
no, we thought we would be doing a Mardi Gras debrief.
Absolutely, yeah. More fun and frolic and all, and kind of looking ahead and changes. And we'll get to some of that. But today was definitely a day to pay tribute to Reverend Jackson and Dr. Francis. And there'll be more. I mean, they are worthy of more, particularly Dr. Francis being our guy. Definitely worthy of more. So, Lord willing, we'll be back here tomorrow morning and share more. But we're going to go out with Jesse Jackson with part of his 1988 Democratic National Convention speech. And when you hear the end of that, next will be The Front Porch right here at WBOK, 1230 a.m., what New Orleans is talking about.
All day long.
Riders were not always outside my door. When I was born late one afternoon, October 8th, in Greenville, South Carolina, no riders asked my mother her name. Nobody chose to write down our address. A mama was not supposed to make it, and I was not supposed to make it. You see, I was born to a teenage mother who was born to a teenage mother. I understand. I know abandonment and people being mean to you and saying you're nothing and nobody and can never be anything. I understand. Jesse Jackson is my third name. I'm adopted. When I had no name, my grandmother gave me her name. My name was Jesse Burns till I was 12. So I wouldn't have a blank space, she gave me a name to hold me over. I understand when nobody knows your name. I understand when you have no name. I understand. I wasn't born in the hospital. Mama didn't have insurance. I was born in the bed at house. I really do understand. Born in a 3-room house, bathroom in the backyard, slop job by the bed, no hot and cold running water. I understand. Wallpaper used for decoration? No, for a windbreaker. I understand. I'm a working person's person. That's why I understand you, whether you're black or white. I understand work. I was not born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I had a shovel programmed for my hand. My mother, a working woman. So many days she went to work early, with runs in her stockings. She knew better, but she rolled runs in her stockings so that my brother and I could have matching socks and not be laughed at school. I understand. At 3 o'clock on Thanksgiving Day, we couldn't eat turkey because Mama was preparing somebody else's turkey at 3 o'clock. We had to play football to entertain ourselves. And then around 6 o'clock, she would get off the Alta Vista bus and we would bring up the leftovers and eat our turkey, leftovers, the caucus, the cranberries, around 8 o'clock at night. I really do understand. Every one of these funny labels they put on you, those of you who are watching this broadcast tonight in the projects, on the corners, I understand. Call you outcast, low down, you can't make it, you're nothing, you're from nobody, subclass, underclass. When you see Jesse Jackson, when my name goes in nomination, your name goes in nomination. I was born in the slum, but the slum was not born in me. And it wasn't born in you, and you can make it. Wherever you are tonight, you can make it. Hold your head high. Stick your chest out. You can make it. It gets dark sometimes, but the morning comes. Don't you surrender. Suffering breeds character. Character breeds faith. In the end, faith will not disappoint. You must not surrender. You may or may not get there, but just know that you're qualified and you hold on and hold out. We must never surrender. America will get better and better. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. On tomorrow night and beyond. Keep hope alive. I love you very much.
Provides valuable whole life insurance to cover final expenses such as medical bills, burial costs, and unpaid debt. A final expense insurance policy is fast, easy, affordable life insurance that's available to anyone between the ages of 50 and 80. No medical exams, no lengthy questions.